going to hit on you today. Collins, what's our rights?
Rights and privileges enshrined under the Constitution. An individual is entitled
I know this definition is in the social textbook. I realize all of these social textbooks. Flamingo.
I read it from Kosipra. Oh, more seriously, I read it from Kosipra. You guys,
people plagiarize. Don't worry.
But why should you say my definition?
Interesting.
Your definition. Did you write a book with Kosipra?
Okay, let us all go. We are learning. Yes, Wilhelmina. I'm sure there were more books other than
I just told you, man. I don't know
Hey.
why.
So you don't.
Goodness.
Okay, what's the question number one? Social studies.
If you want to get
Explain
8 you
rights.
Okay,
In your own language. Yeah.
Is anything morally or legally which an individual is entitled to ensure?
They can remember the things that they choose for the exams. Ernestina.
Rights are privileges that a citizen or a person is entitled to under the Constitution.
Okay.
Is entitled to.
I'm sure we all have the same thing to say.
Yeah.
So but just add up the person's status or title. Yeah. The nationality.
I think that comes with the status comes with privileges.
Exactly, and these are the rights you tend to enjoy. But let's focus on let's narrow it down to teenagers' rights. Is there anything like that, or the rights of the teen? I mean, now we are narrowing it down. The rights of the teen. Yes, Pippa.
Rights of the teen. Well, we are all human beings. Yes, we all have rights. But when a teenager wakes up one day and is like, "Mommy, I want to do this, but you don't want me to do it. You are infringing upon my rights." That teenager is becoming rebellious. Like, it's true. Yes, you go to school, you think you have read that much, so you should come home and then tell your mom or your dad something that you don't even know about. Your mom is just trying to protect you, or she's trying to teach you something more. But then you are like, "No, you should allow me to do this. It's my right." What rights do you have as a teenager? You understand? Your mom also has rights. That is what she's implying there.
So I try to say that teenagers don't have rights then, or are not entitled to rights.
They are not entitled
Because
to rights.
all the basic human rights
apply
to everybody.
So does it mean I don't have the right to vote as a teenager when I'm 18?
That is different. That is.
If you're registered, why not?
You see,
I think with this one we are
Okay,
talking
what
about.
happened to you?
I think with this one we are talking about the rights that apply to us as teenagers.
Yes.
That's what we are talking about. We're not saying there's a right for teenagers only. There are rights for everybody, but then taking our level as teenagers, there are particular ones that
Privileges
apply
that we are
to
entitled
us.
to. Yeah. Yes.
Becky,
Let me come to Makata before you call us. Yes.
From what she's saying, these are some of the reasons why, of late, when it comes to the teenagers, people infringe on their rights mostly because you think or we think you are a teenager, so you are not entitled to any rights. If you think you are supposed to make this particular decision and it's your right to make it, and your parents are like against it, let them understand that this is your right. This is what you are entitled to. They are entitled to their own rights. So you are also, if you're also entitled to your own rights, you should have that like liberty to enforce that you get whatever you deserve. Someone's uncle would sleep with the person because if you don't do it, your uncle will not provide this and that for you.
Yeah.
But under the Constitution,
Hello. Okay, let's go on.
Under the Constitution, if let's say your uncle is taking care of you now and he is your guardian right now, there are certain things he's supposed to provide them for you. Basically, if he doesn't do that and is using that as an excuse to take an advantage of you, you should stand firmly for your right. You shouldn't tell me because I'm a teenager I have no rights.
You see, my only problem here is that when you think you have the rights and it begins to conflict with the authority of the parents, we ought to be very careful. You see, because certain times we know we have rights, but per our statuses as children, not yet adults. Even if you are 18, you are still living with your father. If you think you're old enough, you can as well move out and rent an apartment. But so far as you are under your father's, unless whatever the person is doing to you is legally not right, like as you're saying, sleeping with
your niece or something like that,
or your nephew even. Yes, that's one. I haven't heard. Oh, okay.
I was listening to everything. We know about rights,
Rights, of course, rights are they privileges per se? Rights are, things we enjoy based on being alive, because I think no dead person has their rights intact, and basically rights comes with responsibilities.
Of course.
They work hand in hand, and your rights shouldn't override mine. If you have a right as a teenager, your parents do have rights as your
and different rights over you.
You see. So probably nobody has like rights in full. Let's say we are in Ghana and someone feels like their right, pushes them to anywhere they want to do anything they like. No, rights are just, they are partial freedom you enjoy, out.
So in other words, nobody is
really.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Even free to do
You
anything
have
you
rights
want.
in a certain space. It's a right to talk, voice out our opinions, but you just can't do anything or say anything.
Definitely
just
not
address because you're on this platform.
Yeah.
So basically, rights do deal with location and
so even the instances define what kind of rights.
Because you could be 32 years old and you'd have every right you think you have in this world. But if you live under your father's roof and he lost his gate at 10 p.m., you don't have the right to come and tell
No. I'm old enough. No, at all.
So basically, rights do deal with location and instances and everything, and they come with responsibilities. Even the good book says, to him much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
You see, God gave us everything, bread, all that. The dog doesn't have that, so the dog wouldn't be judged at the end of the day. You will be judged. That's it. That's the responsibility that comes with rights. So, rights, the teenagers' rights. Right now, everybody, it's all about misconception. People have misconstrued it. They believe that, as
I'm
someone
16,
said,
I have breasts. I have
did you
beard.
just say that? Yeah.
What do you call these, please?
No, I
so I'm old enough.
I was displaced like that because I don't get to people tend to misconstrue it. The fact that you have right doesn't mean it doesn't come with responsibilities or they don't have limits. Understand? A teenager, all my friends here and people I know, they don't really ride on their rights. Like, I have rights, but for the negative, let's say, for we to be infringed on, for people to misuse us or put us in wrong place of cheap labor and everything. I think the teenager doesn't know what.
I have this text message. Let me just read it. It says that I would like to ask you if rights of teenagers are seriously considered or practiced in Ghanaian or African homes as compared to the Western homes where teenagers have their will. I thought that question to you. Yes, Collins.
Oh, of course not. Yeah, because in Ghana, not only in Ghana, but once you talk about rights, you have limitations. Every right has a limitation. We're all talking about our rights, but the constitution again, which guaranteed our rights, in which our rights are enshrined, states, but I can't really quote, and I can't really tell the article. But
paraphrase for us.
Yeah, it says something like once you belong to a certain society, like you were saying earlier, it limits some of your rights. It limits certain rights. Basically, you have the right to movement, but when you're a border, you can't move, you can't flip the wall. You know that.
Yeah.
So it goes a long way to say that once you have the right, fine, but you are limited. And so once you are at a particular state or a position or an instance, it defines your right.
I think to the text message the person sent, in Africa or let's say Ghana, I think our rights as compared to the Western, let's say teenagers, they really express and they really make good use of their rights. They stand for their rights. But here in Africa,
and they have support systems for that. If you move out of your parents' home right now, there's a place to go. But here in Ghana,
you see, Becky, it's so disappointing that yesterday I was watching news on UTV, and a child who, due to one or two circumstances, so he is not 100% fit. His parents left a child who is around, I think, 3 years outside. They don't clothe the guy. There is no shelter. They don't feed the child. It took someone to go in for the child and send the child to the police station before their parents were arrested. But there are so many people living in that same environment, in fact the same house with them, and they don't see anything about it. You see, what one will ask, what is wrong if they have to go to the police station to report the case? But
Everybody is
someone will say,
yeah.
yeah, as not your problem. So if you're in Africa or here in Ghana,
Yeah.
I can't tell my mother that I have the right to, let's say, move about freely. So my friends are playing football, I want to go and play the football. If she says no, it's no.
You see, I think one of the things we fail to understand is that these kind of universal rights, especially that cuts across all cultures and across all nations, we shouldn't forget even the traditional setting of that society. For instance, I feel certain times that some of the universal rights, even by the UN, cannot really play. Like Canaan, fine. Some people take it to the extreme, but in our traditional setting, that is how even big professors, even the president was brought up by Canaan. If I'm lying, he can call in the program and say he was never caned by his teachers or even his father or even his uncle. In a certain society or in a certain traditional setting, some of the rights do not really fit in. Like we're saying, a teenager in America decides to report the parents to the police because maybe he feels something has been done to him.
In Ghana,
They were arrested.
in Accra,
You go to
in a traditional
the
home,
police will rush you.
they'll tell you to go back because even if the problem becomes extreme, you don't even take it outside. You have to first consult the family head.
Yeah.
Who will then address it? That is, if you're old, they'll always say that the adult is right. They will
you
always
see,
say that.
that is where I have a problem with.
Yes.
You see, most of us will not go to the police station or will not go to the places we are supposed to be to report such issues because we think if I'm to go and say that my father or my mommy did this to me, and according to the constitution, I have the right to do this and that, and they are preventing me, like on a normal basis, nobody would like to take me serious. Let's say I go to the police station, I report the fact that when I woke up this morning, my daddy had to beat me up for nothing, for no reason. For no reason. I go. Maybe if I'm to go, the police would investigate. But I think as a child, if I go, no one has the time for me. No one will listen to me. So I won't go. And it will happen to a friend of mine. I'll tell him, don't worry, don't bother, it's normal. So that's how the whole thing works. But you see, in the Western countries, when the thing happens and you go, there is a system that will aid you. You see, but here in Ghana, you have to maybe pay something. Sometimes
I think we are very sentimental when it comes to these things as well.
A question: how many teenagers in Ghana know their rights?
That brings my next question. What are the rights of the teenagers? Then?
Becky,
can we give it a point?
I'll say this: a right of a teenager is the right that your parents will give you. Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Period. I'm telling you, if you are a teenager, your rights are under the roof of your parents. Okay, it doesn't go beyond that.
The regulation is set as well.
So what your parents set for you as a teenager, that's what becomes your right.
I want to ask him a question. If in my house, my daddy
I'm not talking about house.
Yeah,
I'm talking about home, not a house.
Let's say in my house. In my house, my daddy says that he doesn't see the necessity in going to school, being educated. So I should be in the house throughout, from my childhood to I grow up.
No,
but that one, what I'm talking about. Hold on.
Will you tell me that because in my house, my daddy
have money.
He's refusing to let me go to school.
He has the
Probably with him, he didn't attend school and he made it, so he doesn't see any necessity in me going to school.
This one. That is it. Yeah.
You understand?
What I want to say is okay. What I want to say is, you see, when it comes to a point where maybe a kid will come and say that daddy doesn't want me to go out because probably your friends, they give your friends, that is your house, my house. You can't come back after 9. You have to call and let us know where you are after 9. Some people can come after 12. You see, and that is my setting, and so that's the right that I have a privilege to go out and come before 9. After 9, I'll receive it. But some places also, so under that are very certain. That is the right of the teenager. It's certainly under the roof. Yes, to your parents. Yeah.
Yes, like I was saying to you, sometimes it depends on your personality. When as children, we tend to pick up certain habits, and our parents look at us and it's like, oh, this my kid will be a mechanic, or will be this, or will be that. So if he or she sees that schooling will not help you, definitely he will take you to some place he knows you will fit in and grow up to be what you want to become. If you don't want to be it, you just
come on, you are forgetting something here. I said education, whether informal or formal, it's education. So if you send me to somewhere to learn a trade, yes, and in this case I'm just in the house, I'm not learning anything.
It depends on your personality. It depends on your relationship with your father too.
I don't think your dad will have enough money and tell you to stay home. If your dad will have enough money and ask you to stay home, then excuse me to say that dad needs to go for a checkup.
Yeah.